Hello my lambs, it's me, Phoebe, back at it once again with one of my redesign videos. Today's victim is Spinel from Steven Universe. And, yeah, with Spinel, I was honestly not expecting to get her so soon, but I don't know, like lately, well, since my Osana video that I posted literally 2 days ago at this point, 3? Maybe by the time I upload this, I just been a little inspired. So when I got Spinel, I was immediate like, oh my god, I think I know what I want to do with her. And I think I conveyed that pretty well with what I wanted to do to her. And I basically just kind of, so for this redesign, I didn't go for like the Spinel that we currently see. I technically went for like past, but you could also like deem it as like present Spinel, like when she's like back with like the diamonds and stuff. Like, I don't know, I feel like this design like would work like super well. Plus it like gives her like a little like jester kind of vibe, which I really like, you know, she's like pink diamonds like toy basically and everything like that. And yeah, that's kind of the look I gave her, and I hope I did it justice. I added like I did like a pink, like kind of like a dark reddish pinkish heart for like her head shape. Mainly because of that one comment that I got on my other video, holy lack of definable silhouette. So thanks, key lime pie with 2 E's. So I decided to, you know, go for this. And I don't know, like this whole vibe is just like gesture, kind of like almost like circus kind of, because you know that's kind of what she is if you like really think about it. And I feel like I did really well in the shading on this one. Like I kind of went in like a different direction than I normally do. But yes, so yeah, Spinel. This is gonna be my little Spinel redesign video, and honestly, she looks so cutieful to me. And do you notice that I didn't do like the little line that I usually do for the nose? I went for like a more circular like nose, which I don't know. I feel like would suit her pretty well. Because when I did the line, it like I don't know, it didn't like suit her like the face that I wanted for her. And then as you notice, I did a different eye shape. I did like bubbles practically for her eye shape. And I did more shading around the eyes. I did like the little like highlight there and stuff. Yeah, I basically kind of went all out with Spinel, and I did this in like a day. Normally, like when I do my redesigns, it takes me like a few days, especially because sometimes I don't have motivation, and then I have motivation before work, and you know, blah say blah. So yeah, that's I did it in a day, which is actually pretty cool. So yeah, I'm not sure who I'm redesigning next, but I'll spin the wheel, and we'll find out who's next. But anyways, if you're not new to this series that I do, I am redesigning Steven Universe characters and fusions. And as I've said, Spinel is today's target. So if you're new to these videos, I read the Wikipedia page and we find out more about them. Or really like the Steven Universe fandom wiki, you know, just to get more information on them, get a little more insight. So we are starting with Spinel. And it shows like her current and previous form for the pictures. Her nicknames are Dingus by Amethyst, New Best Friend by Steven, Pink's Little Playmate by Pearl and Yellow Diamond, Loser herself, one of Pink's lost treasures, Blue Diamond, Species Gem, Weapons Gem Rejuvenator, formerly and non-summoned, sex, sexless, gender pronoun she, her, age 6002 plus, it says. Her hair is cerise, eyes magenta currently, black previously, gemstone Spinel, gem type Spinel, affiliation gem homeworld, the Great Diamond Authority, superiors pink diamond, former superior, crystal gems allied, occupation jester. See, I got it, I clocked it. Oh my god! And for the shoes, I was originally gonna give her like these like little jester shoes that like point and like have that little like bolita at the end, but as you see, I did not add that. Unfortunately, I went for like the big like comical shoes, like kind of clown shoes. So yeah, I was also originally gonna do like clown face paint on her and give her like a mask and do like 2 separate like quote unquote like designs, like her with a mask and then her without. But I decided against that, unfortunately. But I feel like I still could do it. Anyways, alignment. Homeworld gems. Her status is active. Her friends are Steven Universe, Garnet, Amethyst, Pearl, Bismuth, Lapis Lazuli, Peridot, Pink Diamond, formerly White Diamond, Yellow Diamond, Blue Diamond. First appearance Steven Universe the movie. Music theme Spinel is so much better now. And voice actor is Sarah Stiles. Spinel is the main antagonist of Steven Universe the movie and a supporting character in Steven Universe Future. She was created at least 6,000 years prior to the events of the movie to comfort the lonely Pink Diamond who had lost her first pearl to White Diamond. The two would play in Pink Garden until she was finally given a colony. At this point, Pink outgrew Spinel and abandoned her under the guise of playing a game by having Spinel stand alone for thousands of years, and while Pink never returned. After discovering this through Steven's message to the universe, she went to Earth and attempted to destroy all organic life forms on the planet as an act of revenge. After making amends with Steven and the crystal gems, the diamonds take her back to live with them on Homeworld. Now reformed, free, she is still living with the diamonds, living a less destructive and aggressive lifestyle. Yeah, I don't know. For me, I love Spinel's, I guess, current design, but, I don't know why she still looks like she's crying. I get it, she's, low-key still heartbroken, but it's girl, you're with, the diamonds, you're with, practically, your aunts, stop crying, girl. I don't know, I think my design would be, for after when she gets back to, Gem Homeworld, and then she gets in, into, the whole culture, the etiquette, everything like that. But yes. Appearance. Current. Spinel has a pink complexion, magenta eyes, and a small pointy nose, and dark cerise hair that is styled into messy pigtails. She also has 3 black lines underneath both of her eyes, and an inversion of eyelashes from her original form and reminiscent of running mascara. Her clothing consists of a plum-colored top, puffy pointed hot pink sleeves, puffy short rose shorts, hot pink wrist-length gloves, white stockings, and a pair of rose knee-high pointy boots. Her gemstone is located at the center of her chest, cut into the shape of an upside-down heart with lots of facets and detail. Previous. One reset to her original self with her own rejuvenator. Spinel's overall design is shorter, rounded, in contrast to her current taller and pointier design. She had black cartoonish eyes with 3 visible lashes on each, and her hair was styled into a pair of heart-shaped buns. Her top was white with more rounded pink sleeves. Her boots become a pair of big magenta shoes. Spinel's previous color palette is also much brighter than her current one, which uses darker tones. Overall, her appearance was similar to that of a 1930s rubber hose cartoon character. Her gemstone is right side up, resembling a normal heart. God. When can I ever read, guys? Let's be real. One day I will be able to read. One day. Personality. Spinel initially had a goofy, fun-loving personality, but can sometimes be overbearing and annoying for others, acting somewhat naive and oblivious to how others had perceived her. She was to be Pink Diamond's best friend, to the point of being clingy and disingenuous to her real feelings. And then there's a picture of Spinel regaining her sense of fun, which is really cute, actually, because she's shaping her hand, her arms into a heart, and it's so cute. In stark contrast, upon being abandoned, later learning that Pink Diamond is gone, with Steven taking her place and making new friends, Spinel is bitter and full of resentment towards everything connected with Pink Diamond. Due to her abandonment, Spinel is unhinged, prone to spontaneous laughter, extreme outbursts, when reminded even indirectly that Pink Diamond forgot her. This can be seen when her face contorts with fury after Steven asks Pearl who she was. Despite her anger and irrationality, Spinel is somewhat trusting, as she is willing to go along with Steven to stop her injector. That is until she sees the rejuvenator and believes he wants to reset her. Fearful of being betrayed for a second time, Spinel immediately relapses into insanity and decides she hates Steven, before launching a preemptive attack on him. Spinel was fueled by her vendetta, willing to eliminate anyone who gets in her way. This can be seen when she resets Pearl, Garnet, Amethyst after they just met, as she feels that they got between her and Pink. She may have had every intention of erasing Pink's brand new friends in misplaced rage. She displays deeper emotions, like when she shows remorse after Steven saves her and tearfully asks herself why she wants to hurt him and others. Spinel is also mature enough to understand that she will have difficulty creating friendships after what Pink Diamond put her through, but she is willing to start over with the other diamonds. Though silly goofy in her original form, she is shown to be extremely intelligent and cunning in her altered state, originally defeating the crystal gems easily, as well as understanding how her injector works by using it to slowly kill Steven's organic form after using her rejuvenator to set his gem, showing a great tactical knowledge. After returning to Homeworld with the diamond, Spinel returns to her goofy, fun, loving personality. She's still visibly embarrassed by her past mistakes. However, she's also noticeably less less clingy, as she allows White Diamond and Steven to speak privately. Oh, my poor baby. Like, that's so sad. Whenever I think of Spinel, I'm like, oh my god. I think of like her little song, Happily Waiting. I'm like, I can't help but like think of her. And then obviously like other friends, that like that song that she sings when she first appears, I think. But yeah, it's like it sucks to be abandoned. Like, I've been abandoned so many times, so I'm like, I fucking get it, Spinel. I get it, queen. History over 6,000 years ago, Spinel was created for Pink Diamond thousands of years ago to act like her new best friend after losing her first pearl. Often playing games with her and entertaining her, however, over time Pink began to see Spinel as an inconsiderately naive and slowly outgrew her, becoming visibly less and less enthusiastic about constantly playing with her. When Pink was finally given her colony, Earth, she abandoned Spinel in the garden she built for them, saying that they were going to play a new game where Spinel had to stand perfectly still. Jesus Christ. Spinel was eager to play the game and stood motionless for 6,000 years while waiting for Pink's return. Steven Universe, the movie. After 6,000 years of waiting, Spinel finally got news of what became of her diamond. She learns that Pink Diamond technically no longer exists and has given up her physical form to give birth to her half-human son, Steven. After learning this and also realizing that the fact that her diamond abandoned her, she changed her appearance and swore vengeance on Steven and Pink's other friends, the Crystal Gems. Later on that day, Steven's final Homeworld broadcast before returning to Earth, Spinel arrives in Beach City on a massive customized injector, which begins filling the planet with poison. Spinel begins to fight against Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl, her stretching ability and also chaotic method of movement allowing her to easily defeat them. With her gem rejuvenator, furious, Steven manages to grab a hold of her weapon and poofs Spinel with it as well. After the battle, Steven brings the poof gems, including Spinel, to the temple, where he learns that after the crystal gems reformed, that they lost their memories, and he lost access to a majority of his abilities. Not too long after this revelation, Spinel reforms as well and acts oddly friendly and playful towards Steven, calling him her best friend. Throughout the movie, Spinel follows Steven everywhere he went and helps him to get his friend's memories back. While doing so, she also tries to play with him but never gets the chance to, due to him being too focused on helping his friends. After helping Amethyst, Steven and the other remaining crystal gems learn that the only one who can stop Spinel's injector is Spinel herself, and in order to do so, they need her to remember who she is, since Pearl is the only one who seems to know her. The group decides to help her next. That evening, Spinel joins Steven and the other crystal gems at the abandoned warehouse, where they try to get Pearl to regain her memories by listening to a song written by Sadie, Killer, and the Suspects called Disobedient. I actually have that song on my playlist, and it's like, I wanna be disobedient. I actually really like that song. It's kind of embedded in my brain, if that makes sense. When that didn't work, Steven figures that the only way Pearl would be able to think for herself, as well as regain her memories, is if her owner disappeared, just like Rose Quartz did. To do that, Steven fuses with his father, Greg Universe, who Pearl thought was her owner, and forms a new fusion named Steg. Steg then sings a song named Independent together that helps Pearl remember who she is and later duets with him as Opal. Although the song had succeeded in helping Pearl, it causes Spinel to see that Steven cares more for the others than her. Upset, she flees to Pink Diamond's garden, where she tells Steven the story of her past, as well as her abandonment through Drift Away, causing her to return to her former self. Steven, feeling bad for Spinel, befriends her and brings her back to the gems, and Connie, who, after initially being weary, agreed to let Spinel help Steven in deactivating the injector. Upon deactivating it, Spinel is again hurt by Steven's reaction. She then claims he only needed her for the injector and did not want to be her friend, that he would just get rid of her, the source of his problem. Thinking he would betray her as his mother did, she pushes Steven, making him drop the rejuvenator. Freaking out in anger betrayal. Paranoid that Steven would set her back to her default mode, she resorts to her old behavior and attacks Steven, taking Garnet as a hostage to goad him into fighting back. This, however, causes Garnet to regain her memories as well. After being beaten by the crystal gems, Spinel retreats to the top of the injector and is soon followed by Steven, who once more tries to reason with her. This further infuriates her, causing them to fight, until it becomes apparent that she lost her motivation to destroy him and regrets her actions up until that point. Steven, now fully reunited with his powers, comforts her and claims she can start fresh with new people to be her friends. The injector then explodes due to the battle, and Steven saves Spinel by entrapping her in his bubble alongside him. Steven then attempts to comfort her again as Spinel decides she has created too much damage and must leave. The diamonds then arrive, ready to confront Steven about where they will live, and Steven introduces Spinel to them, thus giving her the new friends he promised. Spinel then says goodbye to Steven and leaves Earth alongside the diamonds, happy to be loved again. Today, right here, right now, I'll love again. Oh, I freaking love that song too. There's so many songs from Steven Universe that I just love. Like they do something to my brain, man. Like they just like rewire it. Like, oh, so good. Homeworld Bound. In Homeworld Bound, as soon as Spinel sees Steven, she greets him with a large smooch, which he isn't exactly happy about. They talk about how they've each been. Steven reveals his newfound problems to her, such as growing in size. She takes him to Yellow Diamond to fix his physical form. Yellow Diamond is now able to permanently change physical forms with her electricity powers, and demonstrates this on Spinel, making her arms big and her feet little. When Steven tells Yellow Diamond he doesn't want to be changed based on appearance, Yellow suggests Blue for some emotional help. Spinel enthusiastically takes him to see Blue, who tells him her tears are now vaporized into happy clouds. Spinel suggests he tries this. Blue sings her song, and Spinel happily plays on the clouds and hugs Blue. When Steven tells Blue he would rather be better than feel better, she sends him along with Spinel to see White Diamond, as it's seen as a matter of self-worth. Spinel tells Steven that White Diamond's newfound power is working in reverse, allowing common folk, gems, to protect themselves and control White rather than her controlling them. White shows Steven this by asking Spinel if she wants to demonstrate, to which she happily agrees, and controls White. While controlling White, White Diamond turns the same shade of pink as Spinel and follows Spinel's movements like a puppet, as well as says what she says. Spinel does some dance before White regains her control. White then tells Spinel to leave them alone for a second, and she obliges and leaves with a tiny peek inside before the doors close. After Steven had an unintentional outburst, he runs away, and Spinel follows him and asks him where he's going. He asks her how she dealt with her feelings regarding Pink, and she replies that she doesn't have those feelings anymore since she met him. Then she begins to belt out the first verse of his song, Change, an off-key tune. She is last seen with the diamonds as they chase after Steven, visibly concerned about his well-being. Yeah, Steven was going through it. I didn't finish Steven Universe Future. I might one day. I don't have a good record of finishing shows. Hello, Supernatural. Hello, Hannibal. Hello, Steven Universe Future. What else haven't I finished? The show You, Lucifer. I have so many shows. Like, but yeah, like, dude, Steven was going through it. I feel so bad, like, for Steven. And honestly, I can't wait for my Steven Universe redesign, so let's see. I am my monster. Spinel alongside the diamonds when they travel to Earth via the Mega... Ugh. Spinel appears alongside the diamonds when they travel to Earth via the Mega Diamond to return to Steven's missing flip-flop. Like the diamonds, Spinel is surprised to see Steven as a large monster when they arrive later. Later, Spinel cries and feels guilty at the fact that she was one of the causes of Steven's transformation, as she tried to leave Steven alone with amnesiac friends on a barren world, then attempted to kill him. Afterward, Connie tells everyone to stop feeling sorry for themselves and instead supports Steven in this moment of need. So Spinel, alongside everyone else, comforts him. Spinel is seen at the end of the episode looking at Steven as he turns back to normal, tears in her eyes. I did see that clip. I'm not gonna lie. I saw like the clip where everybody was like, "Oh my god, Steven!" Like when he turned into like this giant like dinosaur-looking fucking monster, and like they comfort him and hug him. I was like, "Oh my god!" I think Garnet was the one who hugged him first, and I love Garnet so much. You guys don't understand. So yeah. Abilities: Spinel possesses standard gem abilities: bubbling, shape-shifting, fusion, regeneration, agelessness, gravity shifting, photokinesis, gem storage, and superhuman strength / durability. Skill set: Scythe proficiency. The non-summoned weapon Spinel wields is a gem rejuvenator that has the appearance of a scythe. Spinel was adept enough at wielding it that she is easily able to defeat 3 of the crystal gems with 1 strike. In conjunction with the weapon, Spinel's ability to stretch works greatly in her favor and allows her to greatly increase the range of her scythe, allowing her to swipe at many different directions, angles, and increase the power behind it when she stretches far enough, allowing the recoil to strengthen the attack that made by the weapon. Natural abilities: enhanced strength. Spinel is quite physically strong for a non-combatant gem. She was able to fight with Steven, Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl at the same time without her scythe, either by kicking, punching, or pushing or restraining them. Later, she was strong enough to punch Steven in midair from mid-air to the injector, almost destroying the injector in the process. Enhanced durability. Spinel is decently durable. She was able to endure being launched forcefully into the injector by the crystal gems. Bubbling. Spinel is able to bubble objects. Her bubbles are pink, and were only seen in a flashback with Pink Diamond. Gem storage. Like most gems, Spinel can store items on her gem as she summoned the rejuvenator from her gemstone. Oh, there's a picture of like her and Pink Diamond, and she's like has like her little like she's juggling her little like bubbles, and it's so cute actually. God, Pink Diamond. Oh, I know, we got to see like her whole fucking like her whole arc like in reverse. Like we saw her for like the good person she was, and then we saw her for like the shitty person she was. And I'm just like, oh my god, you could have taken Spinel with you, and you could have taught her things, you know, like you like. Oh my god, I would imagine Spinel would have been like so hot. Like imagine her like originally part of the crystal gems. Like I think about that and I'm like, oh my god. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like that shit would cook. Like that shit would eat. Anyways. Unique abilities. Elasticity. Similar to old-fashioned cartoons, Spinel is extremely elastic and malleable, able to stretch her limbs and torso to great lengths, inflate her body parts to strengthen her attacks. She uses this to increase the range of her attacks, able to reach enemies from a distance. She can recoil her extended limbs to form a spring-like inflated fist at the end. She even displayed the ability to becoming as flat as the ground and slither across it in a semi-liquid-like state. She's even able to recoil one of her fingers into making a type of horn that activates and deactivates her injector. There appears to be no limit as far as she can stretch, and there also appears to be no limit as to how big she can inflate. Rubber physiology. Spinel also possesses physiology similar to rubber or putty. This allows her to jump great distances and bounce off surfaces. This is exploited when Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl stretch, then shoot her body like a slingshot. Twister dash. She has the ability to quickly dash in style of a twister due to her elasticity properties. Flight. Spinel spinning her legs and has spinning her legs like helicopter blades. She can slow her fall even when carrying heavy object. This is seen in Homeworld Bound when she saves Steven from falling. Figure 8. In Homeworld Bound, she is shown to be able to run incredibly quickly, and making her legs look like an 8 figure, similar to the super peel out from Sonic the Hedgehog CD. Spin dash. In Homeworld Bound, she is able to dash similarly to Amethyst and Jasper. Additional tools. Gem Injector. She obtained this via access to Pink Diamond's armor and used it to poison the earth until she accidentally destroyed it. Gem Rejuvenator. She obtained this via Pink Diamond's armory and used it against the crystal gems until it was destroyed by Steven. Relationships. Pink Diamond. Aw. And then she smiled. That's what I'm after. The smile in her eyes, the sound of her laughter. Happy to listen, happy to play, happily watching her drift away. Sorry, that was like in the quote, and I was like, oh! Anyways, Spinel was Pink Diamond's playmate and best friend, created solely to entertain Pink. Spinel considered herself to be Pink's best friend for a time. The two were inseparable. However, they gradually grew apart as Pink Diamond yearned to have a colony of her own. Oblivious to this, Spinel continued to attempt to entertain Pink, her attitude now seeming more immature in comparison. She also became clingy upon Pink's allocation of Earth and as her colony by the Diamond. Spinel was intent on joining Pink on this new endeavor. Very reluctant to allow Spinel to join her, Pink created a quote-unquote new game to get rid of her from her side, in which Spinel should wait for her to return in the same spot and never move. Spinel obliged and waited over 6,000 years for Pink's return. When Spinel finally realized that Pink abandoned her after watching Steven's announcement on the Diamond communicator, hurt and sorrow consumed Spinel, resulting her into taking her current form and hunting down Steven to take revenge on Pink. While speaking to Steven, Spinel expresses her belief that Pink does not care about her, though it is unknown whether this is indeed true. In spite of her newfound hatred towards Pink, Spinel fondly reminisces over the fun times the two of them had together, happily tells the Diamonds they remind her so much of Pink. Steven Universe. Spinel sought out revenge on Steven due to him being the descendant of Pink Diamond, as stated by his broadcast, and she was jealous of the fact that he, or Pink, now had new friends that were not herself. Hurt by Pink's abandonment, she vowed to destroy Steven's new friends and the planet Pink had loved so much. Steven accidentally poofs her, perceiving her as a threat once she has poofed Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl. However, upon her regeneration, the two become mutual acquaintances, with Spinel resuming her best friend status with Steven as she did with Pink. The two are inseparable, with the relationship heavily skewed, coming mostly from Spinel. Upon a small disagreement where Spinel sees Steven caring more for his friends than her, she flees to Pink Diamond's garden, where she tells Steven the story of her past. Moved and desperate to redeem the gem, Steven brings... Oh my god, my brain shut off for a second, because sometimes the way how these things are written, I'm like, oh, my brain shuts off. Where she tells Steven the story of her past. Moved and desperate to redeem the gem, Steven brings Spinel back to the gems, and Connie, who initially, after being weary, agreed to let Steven help Spinel to deactivate her injector. Upon deactivating it, Spinel is once again hurt by Steven's reaction. She claims he only needed her for the injector and did not want to be her friend, reverting to her old behavior. Spinel attacks Steven and briefly holds Garnet hostage before retreating to the top of her injector. Steven ascends the injector to talk to Spinel. They fight until it becomes apparent she has lost her motivation to destroy him and regrets her actions up until that point. Steven has now fully reunited with his powers, comforts her, and claims she can start fresh with new people to be her friends. The injector promptly explodes due to the battle. Steven saves Spinel by entrapping her in his bubble alongside him. Steven then attempts to comfort her again. As Spinel decides she has created too much damage and must leave, the Diamonds then arrive, ready to confront Steven about where they will live. Steven introduces Spinel to them, thus giving her new friends he promised. In homeward bound, Spinel is quick to greet Steven, tries her best to help him with his problem by taking him to the other Diamonds. After the advice of the other Diamonds fails, she says that Steven is the reason she was able to change for the better, giving him his own advice to try to help him. She also shows to harbor great affection for him. Her eyes turn into hearts when she sees him and kisses him on the face. Upon seeing Steven's monster form in I Am My Monster, she cries and blames herself for Steven's mental pain. Mentioning the events in the movie, she was then moved by Connie's speech that Steven needs all his family and friends to help, and contributed in comforting him until he turned back to normal. Pearl. The two were acquainted with one another as members of Pink Diamond's court, but presumably never interacted much. When Spinel and Pearl encountered each other for the first time in 1,000 years, Pearl experienced shock over Spinel's return. While the two never interact properly, it seems that Spinel holds a fair amount of resentment towards Pearl, since Pink Diamond took Pearl with her to Earth but left Spinel behind. This is evident when Spinel mentions it and is barely able to keep herself from screaming in anger. Yellow, Blue, and White Diamond. The other Diamonds were acquainted with her thousands of years ago, as Spinel remarked that they saw her before. It isn't known how much or in which way they previously interacted. However, the only past instance of Spinel encountering the other Diamonds is when Pink was told about her receiving her own colony by Blue and Yellow, with Diamond being absent. All three were unaware that Pink left Spinel abandoned within her garden, nor did they seem to remember her at all in the first place. Upon their first encounter with Spinel in Millennia, the once oblivious Diamonds seem to remember Spinel immediately. Yellow calling her Pink's little playmate, she is shown to be amused by Spinel's jokes and antics. As for Blue Diamond, she calls Spinel one of Pink's lost treasures, and shows sympathy after learning her abandonment by Pink, but takes a liking to Spinel primarily due to her resemblance to the latter. White proposes the idea of taking Spinel to Homeworld with them, letting her stay in the Diamond Palace, to which Spinel agrees, expressing gratitude for being able to try her hand at making friends again. In Homeward Bound, it is evident that Spinel and the Diamonds have become good friends as they welcome her whenever she enters their room, and Spinel enjoys it when they use their newfound powers on her. Oh, Jesus, I forgot about the trivia. Trivia! Unlike other characters, Spinel actually wants to hurt others. Talking about Spinel, Rebecca has stated that the only thing about her is that she's a really toxic person. She's so toxic, she literally tries to poison people. In my interactions with friends who have had a history difficult enough to make it hard for them to trust other people, and sometimes even actively want to hurt others, it's just a very difficult situation to navigate. In the case of Spinel and all these characters, that's extremely exaggerated because cartoons have the ability to be extreme exaggerations. I wanted to explore what it's like when you're trying to help someone who really doesn't want to help themselves, who wants to embody the negative feelings that they have about themselves. I think that's something really real. I hadn't seen that in a cartoon before. Spinel, unlike many others in the show, actually has a goal of hurting people, which is new territory for the show. She really wants to hurt Steven, and there's a reason that she does, because she's in so much pain. I just wanted to explore all dimensions of that. Rebecca Sugar has stated that Pink Diamond abandoned Spinel because she found her grating and overwhelming. Pink wanted to feel like she was moving forward. This gem was given to her to placate her in a way. Placate? I don't know. And she was ready to move on. She wasn't really thinking about how that would affect other people because she tends to not think about that. That's a bit reoccurring theme for her. I think that's a quality that Spinel. I think there's a quality to Spinel that's also about our young audience having grown up, and all these kids have grown out of the show and left behind, and how silly it could be to be here working so hard to make this cartoon and where other people will just leave. Pink, she grew out of her. It doesn't excuse what she did. It absolutely doesn't, because it was very cruel, and she could be very cruel. She also stated that what she wanted people to take away from the movie and its characters' arcs was that it's alright to be a work in progress. It's you who needs to want to change. Spinel's existence and backstory were tied to an event in Sugar's childhood. She left a cherished rabbit in her garden, and when she discovered it half a year later, it had changed independently. This was also the source of the inspiration for the song Everything Stays that Sugar composed and performed for Adventure Time, which she storyboarded before leaving. Everything Stays is even similar to Drift Away in key, what each song evokes. Spinel's design was designed to look like an out-of-date cartoon that never evolved. Her design, gloves, first form pupils, stretching abilities were based on old-fashioned cartoon characters of the early 1900s era Roboho's animation style, having limbs bending, stretching freely, with no articulation. Her movements were deliberate references to Grim Natwick, UB Works, and Walt Disney's productions, which were cartoons of this style that are popular to this day. Her hair is similar to Mickey Mouse's ears, since regardless of which direction she was faced, it always stayed along the outline of her head, while her original form resembled Mickey, with her new form resembling Mickey's predecessor, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Her opening song matched all this, being similar to jazz and ragtime songs in these cartoons, such as Cab Calloway's involvement with Betty Boop. She tended to add old slang to her words into her speech as well, such as swell and G, which were often used during the time Rubber Hose animation was popular. She also spoke with a slight New York accent, referencing the speaking style of such cartoon characters. Her stretching ability and attacks could also be a nod to Jake the Dog from Adventure Time, as well as Reed Richards' Mr. Fantastic from Marvel Comics, Monkey D. Luffy, Bellamy, and Charlotte Katakuri from One Piece, of which Sugar was a huge fan and used as inspiration. Her scythe attacks were similar to Maka Alburn from Soul Eater. Soul Eater is my shit. I'm just letting y'all know now. I love Soul Eater. She also seemed to be reminiscent of DC Comics Harley Quinn, as both were colorfully modeled after court jesters and violent but disturbingly playful. Her squeaky feet were similar to those squeaky shoes of SpongeBob SquarePants from the Eponymous TV series. I don't know that word. The transformation back to her altered form was similar to the transformation in Magical Girl anime. Additionally, her hair buns seemed to represent Chibiusa Tsukino from Chibi Chibi from Sailor Moon. Jesus Christ. Her name was alluded in some of the earliest promotional materials where her gemstone was spinning. The spinning gemstone in the promo was most likely a reference to her gemstone, which was revealed to be rotated upside down. Spinel is the only known gem beside her diamond to have rotated her gemstone's original position. Alongside with carnelian, holly blue agate, emerald, bixby, and laminar and snowflake obsidian, Spinel is the sole individual of her gem type seen in full detail. Spinel was one of the few gems along lapis lazuli, peridot, square dot, hessonite, demontoid, and pyrope to fully, if not immediately, recognize Steven as his own being, as opposed to an extension of rose quartz and / or pink diamond. Understanding he was neither from onset. Many other crystal and homeworld gems had difficulty making this distinction, at least initially. Spinel's associated instrument is distorted mellotron strings. In her original design, Spinel's head was going to be shaped like a giant heart. Look at what I did with my original design. Look at what I did with my redesign, y'all. I got you, Rebecca Sugar. I got you. If Rebecca Sugar ever sees my videos, Queen, I love you. I love you, Queen. Spinel's gemstone is the most faceted in the franchise. In real life, Spinel gems have been used as crown jewels, giving them further association with royalty. Real life Spinel is also believed to dispel negative energies through purification, in addition to increasing creativity, preserving youthfulness, while the former aspect could have been analog to her old personality. The latter might have been ironic jab towards her use of the Rejuvenator. And then gemstone. Spinel's gemstone is located on her chest. Its shape resembles an upside-down heart. In Spinel's original form, her gemstone is still located on her chest. It resembles a heart, like in her current form, except it is right side up. Jesus, that was a lot of reading. I hope you guys were able to understand me over all my stuttering and everything like that. Again, all this information is going to be on the wiki, so if you did not understand me, it's all there, babes. It's all there. But yeah, I really hope you guys like this redesign. I really love it. I'm actually like super proud of it. I hope you guys really like it and fuck with it, because I hella fuck with it. And I'm not sure what the next redesign is going to be, but I will tell you the next redesign for my Yandere Simulator redesign series, and it is finally Ayano. So I know I just posted Asana, and now I'm going to post Ayano, and it's going to be the same thing for like Ayano that I was so confused about with Osana. Like, I have no idea how to redesign her. But anyways, I will speak more about that in Ayana's video once I figure everything out. But yeah, guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to do all the good stuff. My social media is down below in the description, where you'll find more information, I'm sure. And that's it. So yeah, you guys have a wonderful rest of your morning, day, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time it may be for you guys. And I'll see you all in the next one of whatever I make. I'll see you later, my little lambs. Bye.